Oh yeah, I got a show to do. I should probably get ready for that. Hi. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the music down. Oh, it isn't that much. I'm turning the music down because, it's that time. Turn this up so I can hear myself. And here we go. Hello, people. That's not me. What the hell's that? Let's try that again. The hell happened? Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm back from a weekend of debauchery and Jägermeister and all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, it's, did the music turn down? What the hell's going on with my setup here? There we go. Okay. So anyway, hi. It's Monday and we're going to have our show. And, because I do that every Monday. But the music's still really loud. I don't know why. It won't turn down. Did that work? That was better. Okay, that's better. So happy Monday. Just going to get caught up from the weekend. We're going to just touch a lot of headlines today. Not going to get really in depth in anything. But the leader I'm starting to talk like him. The leader of the free world, that guy, the big guy, had a couple glitches over the weekend. And he also got on 60 Minutes and said some shit and whatever. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. That's what we do on the show. And that's it. No more. I'm just going to play the intro because I'm already having troubles. Johnny, play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Is this thing on? What the hell happened? Sorry, guys. I'm having a little technical difficulty. And you can't even see me. Hi. This is an awful show already. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel, where sometimes things just don't go perfectly as they do. It's live TV, so to speak, even though it's on the internet and it's not a TV. It's on a screen or a phone near you. But anyway, I am doing my best to do that. Although some of you might be watching on TV. Is anybody watching on a TV right now? I'm just curious if anyone watches my show on a TV. I'm not. It's it happens. I watch YouTube from my TV sometimes. Anyway, it's Monday. It's Monday the 16th of October 2023. Just 15 days away from Halloween. The party holiday prior to the holidays where you got to be all serious and have family and stuff. So anyway, a lot of stuff went on this weekend, and I'm going to try to get just caught up via headlines. We're not going to go too deep into any stories, but I do want to talk about a couple glitches Joe Biden had and just various things that are happening in the world. Because I have like 50 tabs open today. It's crazy how much stuff I pulled up this morning, and I didn't get to read all of it, so we're just going to kind of go along and see what's happening and do our thing. But before we do that, of course, I'm going to say good morning, because I always say good morning to the troops, and just remind you that well, let me see this is going to scroll. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pin one of these messages because I'm trying to keep the tip jar filled up or whatever. First, the chat over on Rumble. Mr. Avocados Diabli gets the bell. Let's see if this works. Hey, that worked! Look at that! I'll be dang! Also, on Rumble's Mr. Mike Savage, Blarg, and Jimmy Das Hotep. Good morning to yous. On YouTube, first in the chat was also Mr. Avocados Diabli who gets the bell. Good morning also, Somnambul Nation, Unacceptable Views, Kara Soldier, I already said unacceptable views. Well, that's it. That's everybody. That's all that's here. Oh, Mike Savage, Blarg. And Is that you guys is that it? Oh, Lord Stanhope's here. Okay, I'm scrolling. Finally, I found someone new. And, well, Don Julio's here. Good morning, Don Julio, Gulf City Biker and Trash Man. Good to have you here. A Tackle Pack's in the house. Good. And there's Rod Line. And I'm just doing the romper room style now. There's Special K on Acid. There's Trippy Liberty. There's Fake News Expert. And I see Furry Kitten. And I see Tyler F. And I see my favorite Canadian Jaeger Pony. And I also see... Well, that's it. That's all that's here. Hi, how are you doing? It's Monday. Let's just get caught up from the weekend, okay? We'll just, Oh, was it Romper Room? Yeah, it was Romper Room, right? The ladies just think and I see Bobby, and I see Shelly, and I see Marty. She never said Marty, though, because, okay, when your name's Marty... Okay, you may not know this because you go to like a truck stop or you go into a souvenir shop at your favorite place that sells souvenirs, and you go there and they'll have the license plates, right? They'll have all these license plates, all the names on it, right? And you're going up and down through the license plates, or a keychain that has names on it, like a Disney World keychain, and they have the Disney World keychain that has all the names. You got the little square thing, it's on a swivel and it swivels around, and you look for your name, right? Well, they never have Marty. Now, I would think that, and sometimes not even Martin, and that's a pretty common name, and they don't have it. And I'm not, technically, I guess I am technically a Martin, but nobody calls me Martin because I didn't grow up with the name Martin. Marty is just a nickname before. My name, I was originally John Martin O'Connor, but I didn't grow up with that name because I was adopted, and they changed my legal name but kept calling me Marty because everyone already called me Marty, and they didn't want to confuse the little 4-year-old too much, so they kept calling me Marty even though my legal name was not Marty. And so, but you go to those things and they never have Marty. It's annoying. Just maybe the Marty is sold out. No, they don't do Marty. I looked. I always looked. Okay, it's not that the Martys are sold out. Okay, the place that they didn't even sell the crap never has a Marty. I look at them all the time. It's becoming a running joke my entire life where I'm trying to find one that says Marty. They don't have one. Try getting one with Frank on it. Back in the day, occasionally. Yeah, no, not John Connor. John Martin O'Connor was my original name when I was born. A nice young Catholic young male. Anyway, but yeah, so, Monkey, what's up, by the way? Good morning, sir. Nice to have you here. And Rick Ashbringer's in the house. Nice to see you, too. Welcome to the show. So anyway, and Chris Kroll's in the house. I'm sorry, I skipped your name. I didn't mean to, sir. I just didn't see it. And I said my favorite Canadian Jaeger Pony's in the house. Okay, you're here too. Okay, so anyway, yeah, never Marty. But Frank's a hard one too, huh? I could have sworn I've seen one. Well, I don't know. I don't remember. Because that was my grandfather's name was Frank. But Marty, never once. Wait, there was one time I saw one with Marty, and I was so excited, but it was something really dumb that I didn't really want, so I didn't buy it. But you can get, if you want Marty, you get it custom made. Okay, it was custom made. So anyway, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. No. I write Frank in all my mail and pretend I am in Congress, so I don't need a stamp. Oh, very good. There you go. Okay. It's okay. I'm a Marty too. Okay. Well, yeah, but you never find one on those little souvenir thingies. All right. So let's get into some news because I'm in limited time today, so we should probably do that. For some reason, Don Lemon was trending, like just before I got here, and apparently, it's because I think it's because Sean Hannity said someone stupid, and then they called him. They said he was almost as dumb as Don Lemon, which, I'm not a fan of Hannity that much. Anyway, wait, I gotta stop. we have, by the way, good morning, Blackout 8879. And we have our first sponsor today, Blackout 8879. You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you for being the first to drop a deuce in the tip jar. We'll clean that up later. Blackout says, try this. My name is Ryan. Got the nickname T from my friends because I reminded them of Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. You have any idea on how hard it is to find T? Well, look, but T is not your name. I bet you could find a Ryan now. I think Ryan would be a pretty easy one to find, but I don't know. What the F do they do with those name things now? Oh, all the weird names. Yeah, there's weird names. So I'm sure there's all kinds of people who can't find them now. But you know, every Bobby, Steve, and Jeff, and David, and Mary, and everyone else could find one of those little special license plates you got from whatever state you're in, and I could never get one. So anyway, all right. So I don't really care about this whole Don Lemon thing. We're gonna skip that. What else do I have here? First, very important. Another celebrity from childhood died. Has passed away. The lovely and talented Suzanne Sommer has passed away. She's trending this morning, and may she rest in peace. Claimed to actually. Now here's the thing. While I knew Suzanne Summers from Three's Company, right? The show Three's Company, and she famously left the show. And that everyone's bringing this up today. She famously left the show because she wanted to be paid as much as John Ritter, and they would not pay her as much as John Ritter. She was now look, and at the time I didn't even know John Ritter was like I didn't know because you're a kid, you don't know what they did before this show. And John Ritter was fairly, I guess, accomplished actor. I had no idea because I'd never seen him in anything. And Suzanne Summers was basically, other than being the hot chick in the Thunderbird in American Graffiti, I don't know if she had that much, going on. I mean, she's a very talented person. She's a singer, dancer, and all that stuff. But that was what I remember her from. She was the hot chick in the Thunderbird in American Graffiti. Because I remember my parents. So when I was a little kid, my parents, they want to go to a movie and they'd have to take us. So they'd had to take us to movies that, they had to stick to kind of PG. Although I remember seeing like Patton with them. I remember seeing Tora with them. I remember seeing, anyway, they took me to see American Graffiti. Okay. And I was I must have been like fourth grade. Let's see. Let's find out. That American Graffiti is kind of the reason Happy Days became a thing, as far as I'm concerned. American Graffiti. Oh, I don't. You don't want to see my desktop here. Okay. American Graffiti. American Graffiti. All right. Let's look that up. Okay. So, American Graffiti. What year was that? 1973. Okay. Yeah, we went and saw it in the theater. So I was in third grade, I think. And everyone like the hot chicken, the T-Bird. That's Suzanne Summers. And then I didn't even realize it was the same chick when she was in Three's Company, but it was. And she played a ditzy blonde, which, took some talent, and she wanted to be paid as much as John Ritter, and they wouldn't pay her as much as John Ritter. And so she said she got fired. Not even she's left the show. She got fired from the show, which is kind of wild. So anyway, she was also conservative. Did anyone know that? I didn't realize that. I guess, now that I look back at, I'm looking through the people giving her tributes, and mostly conservatives are giving her tributes. The show went downhill after she left Three's Company. Yeah, the other, it just wasn't the same with the other ditzy blondes. They brought in another ditzy blonde. They didn't say it was a character. They said it was her cousin or her sister, something like that. And but anyway, she was also on an episode of the Rockford Files. She was poor girl number 1. Well, there you go. Happy Days is directly responsible for Weezer, and for that I will not forgive them. Who, Weezer or Happy Days? Which one? Which one are you not forgiving of? So anyway, but and she was a fitness guru for a while, and but she was 76 years old. She had been battling cancer for a long time. So rest in peace, Suzanne Summers. Moving on. And there's an article here in the Daily Caller, and that's interesting. It's that I didn't really think about her politics ever. But if the Daily Caller's writing about her, then she must have been conservative. The day before, and it was the day before her 77th birthday. Her birthday would have been today, I think, or yesterday. But she had been battling cancer for 50 years. So she's, and I knew that she had gotten cancer way back when and survived it. But anyway, rest in peace, Suzanne Summers. If you want to read that article, it's there. Also in the news, and also trending because of that is Three's Company. A lot of people putting up clips from Three's Company, and rest in peace, Suzanne Summers. But she's very nice, and I guess a lot of people liked her. Louisiana is also trending this morning, the state of Louisiana, because there has been a seismic shift in the politics of the state of Louisiana. I don't know if it's seismic. I think it's mostly a red state, but the governorship has been held there for 8 years by Democrats. Well, they have elected a Republican governor for the first time in, I guess 9 years ago when they elected this current Democrat. The new governor of Louisiana will be Jeff Landry. He's a Trump guy, Trump endorsed guy, and it's has Democrats nervous, I guess. Breaking: Republican Jeff Landry has won the Louisiana governor's race and flipped the seat with 52% of the vote because it was a runoff state. Candidates need to have at least 50% of the vote to avoid the runoff. So he avoided a runoff even in Louisiana. So that's a pretty big damn deal. It'll be interesting to see how much national politics goes that way. I know that Scott Pressler, the guy he's the persistence guy. He's the guy who goes out and does voter registration for Republicans. Said he spent a good part of last year working on the Louisiana gubernatorial race. People thought I was crazy for thinking we could win outright, which he did, 52% of the vote. Congratulations, Governor-elect Jeff Landry. Thank you to everyone who wrote letters and to new movers. Holy cow, we did it. And he's about to head to Kentucky because they want to try to get David Cameron over there to be the governor of Kentucky. In fact, here's Daniel Cameron, not David. Congratulations to Jeff Landry on flipping Louisiana. Americans are fed up with the failed leadership of Joe Biden. Kentucky will follow Louisiana's footsteps and elect a Republican governor this November. So we'll see if that happens. But yeah, Trump endorsed. Congratulations to the state of Louisiana and also David Landry. Let's see. In fact, here's an article in Legal Insurrection about that race. Louisiana flips red. Republican AG Jeff Landry wins gubernatorial election outright with no runoff election. Goodness gracious. The only Democrat governor in the South, Louisiana, John Bel Edwards, is about to be replaced by Republican Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry, who is now the governor-elect. Edwards, who was a term limited out, could not seek re-election. To the surprise of many, Landry won the gubernatorial election outright. He was expected to perform well enough to easily make a runoff, but he was not expected to win, so it's quite a welcome surprise. So if you want to read more about it, they got clips from the New York Post, the Times-Picayune, which is the New Orleans paper, and the New York Times. Oh, here's one. Let's do the little blip from the New York Times, though, because the New York Times is always fair and always accurate and always just right down the middle, no sides taken. Well, they called him a hardliner. This is from the New York Times. Mr. Landry, a brash conservative who repeatedly fought Democratic policies in court as Louisiana's top lawyer, will replace Governor John Bel Edwards, a Democrat limited to 2 terms. His victory guarantees a far-right government for Louisiana, a state where Republicans have controlled the legislature for decades but had faced resistance from Mr. Edwards, who vetoed several bills, including one targeting LGBTQ people. It comes at a moment when the state is confronting soaring insurance rates and dwindling population numbers. So Now, this is the New York Times. Listen to how they describe him, though. Mr. Landry, a confrontational litigator and a politician who had won over much of the Republican base by battling Mr. Edwards and the Biden administration in court over pandemic vaccine mandates, efforts to work with social media companies to limit the spread of misleading or false information. Wait a minute. Do you hear how they're writing this? Do you hear the tone of this? So, that's their concern. That's the New York Times concern. Efforts to work with social media. Okay. Mr. Landry, a confrontational litigator and politician, had won over much of the Republican base by battling Mr. Edwards, the Democratic governor, and the Biden administration in court over pandemic vaccine mandates, efforts to work with social media companies to limit the spread of misleading false theories. You mean tomorrow's news? And environmental regulations. Those are the things important to the New York Times. He served as sheriff's deputy and two-term lawmaker in the House of Representatives as the Tea Party took hold in American government. Oh, the Tea Party! Oh, no!
You are the
Whoops. This. And where they flex their power of political office and his particular style of combative conservatism. So they don't like him. The New York Times doesn't like. Imagine that. The New York Times doesn't like a Republican. Shocker. All right, moving on. In also trending right now, and it's God. Palestinian genocide is a hashtag trending on Twitter. Or X, or whatever, the app formerly known as Twitter. But as I was scrolling through this, so there's all these...
On October 7th.
Not yet. Slow down. I'm not ready for you yet. So the reason this is... it's trending because there are protests and rallies all over the world on behalf of the Palestinians. And it's interesting because basically most of these protests, they're celebrating what Hamas did and claiming that Israel is going to try to genocide the Palestinians, which I'm pretty sure they're focused on God. If they're going to genocide so-called the Palestinians, why would they tell them to warn them to leave while Hamas is keeping them to stay? I'll talk more about it in a minute. Cyan Wizard, I'm talking about your state. This election was historic. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, he didn't have to have a runoff. It's crazy. But welcome to the show, by the way. I have not seen your name here before. I hope you join us more often and stick around. Hello, and also good morning to the Grand Inquisitor, Ty Alexander. So anyway, there's these rallies all over the world, okay? And in support of what Hamas did, and I'm not exaggerating, okay? Yes, they're rallying because they're saying the Israelis retaliating for what happened is a genocide. They're trying to commit genocide. When in reality, I mean, we know for a fact that the Hamas charter is to eliminate all of the chosen peoples, if you know what I'm saying. Because I don't want to say that in a sentence, because YouTube's weird algorithm shit. So anyway, there's these rallies all over the world, huge rallies in cities all over the world on behalf of the Palestinians, and it's just like, look, I don't know. Oh, that's an Indian Day thing. That's not that. But here's an example right here. In this is in Netherlands. Netherlands stands in support of Palestine and Gaza. There is no such thing as Palestine. But hi, Shady Grin and GDSOB. So I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, I found this. This is a clip up here of this reporter. I believe this is in Israeli TV. And I found it fascinating, and it's a little bit long. I'll basically get to the heart of it. Well, here, we'll watch some of it. let's watch some of this because it's fairly, even if you support the people in Gaza and the Palestinians, okay, even if you support them, hello number one, even if you support them, can you do it without endorsing the murder and chaos? And she makes a good point here because everyone, you'll see in a second. I'll just watch. I just sit in difference with everyone. I do too, except for the fact that people are celebrating the murder part.
On October 7th, Hamas terrorists stormed the border of Israel in a premeditated, savage terror attack. Israelis were tortured, raped, gunned down at bus stops, held hostage in their homes, kidnapped and taken to Gaza, burned alive, beheaded, murdered in front of family members, and their bodies were desecrated and paraded around the streets of Gaza as Palestinians cheered. Now, you'd think in a situation like this, the world would be able to state unequivocally that Hamas is evil and needs to be stopped.
Yeah,
but
you think so?
not.
I think that we should all give an applaud right now to Hamas for a job well done.
Now, I don't know where that was, but he sure had a very American-sounding accent as far as I was concerned. And I'm like, wait a minute. No matter what you think of Israel and Hamas and the situation with them, applauding Hamas for a job well done? You know, a lot of those Harvard students some of the Harvard students are regretting that stance. But anyway.
In the aftermath of the attacks, there have been statements not only excusing Hamas, but celebrating what happened and trying to disprove survivors. Since the attacks, I've personally been told that there was no evidence of rape, that Hamas didn't kidnap children, they merely took injured to the hospital in Gaza out of kindness, that Israel lied about the beheading of babies, that the images of dead babies released by first responders was AI generated, a claim literally fabricated by Al Jazeera Arabic, and that all of what Hamas did was justified because of occupation. Now, aside from the fact there's no occupation of Gaza and Israel withdrew in 2005, burning children alive and shooting civilians.
But see, when they say occupation, they mean all of the land that all the Israelis are on. That's they're considering that occupation. They're saying these are the indigenous peoples of this land.
Is not justifiable, even in the case of occupation. But I have to ask, who responds to a massacre by doubting the survivors? Why is such a response acceptable when Jews are the victims, but not anyone else? Honestly, I'm not even sure why this needs to be said. The fact is, no other minority in the world faces such obscene scrutiny for every single claim made by survivors. No massacre against a minority has ever been required to release gruesome photos of their murdered over and over again in order to prove they actually face discrimination. Testimony from the IDF, from first responders, and from survivors all confirm the same things. But apparently, Jews can't be believed. As an Israeli journalist, I cannot count how many foreign journalists asked me for proof of rapes, beheadings, and the murder of infants in Israel. Can you imagine the media doing the same to victims of ISIS? If every time an eyewitness reported that they saw ISIS rape someone, that the response was, "Where's the proof? ISIS are freedom fighters." Can you imagine if they held rallies in America, no less, where they called for violence against the victims of ISIS and celebrated attacks? If they falsified photos and accused the victims of faking it on an internet...
Now, there is... I'm going to stop for a second. And this goes on. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but there is... there is evidence in the region that sometimes there are staged things that happen. Hello, let's fight. Let's fighting love. Welcome over here on. Well, the baby thing seems fake. Well, they have photos of him. I don't know if they, if you really search for them, you'll find some of the gruesome photos. So. I mean, the reason it may seem fake, however, that's someone over in Rumble, by the way. Welcome to the show. The reason it probably seems fake if you listen to that scenario, is how could somebody be so fucking callous and so unfeeling that could even do something like that? It's insane, but that's how barbaric this attacks were, and they have photos of it, but it's crazy. The baby thing is slightly inflated to heighten emotion. Well, that's the thing. There's a lot that happens a lot in the Middle East now, doesn't it? In certain places, like there's some photos of people that have been victims multiple times in certain parts of the Middle East when they're trying to bring out the propaganda. So I understand that the propaganda is kind of a Middle Eastern thing, but I'm not so much sure if it's as much as an Israeli thing, although I'm sure it is. I mean, you're heightening the reason you're doing shit. But anyway, but if you don't want to watch that, it'll be in the links. I'll put a separate link just for that particular video. But I want to keep going here. Where the hell is it? There we go. We'll make that a separate link. Or did I already do? I might have already done that. Let's see if I did or not. All right, I'm going to keep going, though, because I don't want to get caught up in stuff. I don't have as much time today because, I started late. So, also, President Mumbles has been in the news. And I'll just start with this one because 60 Minutes is trending because President Biden apparently was on 60 Minutes. But what is really interesting about the fact that President Biden was on 60 Minutes, 60 Minutes itself isn't exactly promoting the fact that he was on 60 Minutes. As I scroll through the trending topic of 60 Minutes on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, the people posting clips from Joe Biden's appearance on 60 Minutes aren't 60 Minutes. Like, normally they promote their own shit. Like, for example, down here, if you scroll down here, they promoted this right here, but they're not promoting the fact that they just interviewed President Biden because he's Mr. Mumbles. And I'll give you an example. I'll have more in a minute, but this is the one in particular. Listen to this. First of all, Scott Pelley, and I'll talk about some reactions to this, but Scott Pelley kind of helped him through the interview, kind of gave him some crutches. Like, he'd ask questions, but the answer was in the question, so Joe could just kind of, go along with it and say, yeah, sure. So here's Scott Pelley. Here's one example of Joe Biden answering a question on 60 Minutes, and it's typical Joe Biden because there's not really an answer because he doesn't have the note cards in his hands, and they don't have a teleprompter for him. So here, listen to this. This is just weird. Listen to this.
And I wonder, Mr. President, what you would say to him if he is considering using chemical or tactical nuclear weapons.
Don't.
And I wonder, what is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran?
Don't.
Now, I don't know. Wait, is that two different clips? Is that pieced together? That was something pieced together. I thought that was from that interview. That's not it. But anyway, it's kind of like how it would be. All right. Once a year as the world falls apart, Biden goes to 60 Minutes and says this. That was his answer before on something, then he answered that way again. So anyway, the other thing that was trending on 60 Minutes, did I do these in order? I think I did. All right, here is Scott Pelley's latest softball interview with Joe Biden. 60 Minutes ends by underlying Biden's apparent love of Israel and how he wants to run again to make everything better. So here's Joe Biden talking about his love for Israel.
Mr. Biden told us images of October 7th reminded him of the Holocaust, which he has studied, taking his family.
Okay. Did somebody send him in there with a talking point? That's weird. Because reminded him, were you, okay, never mind. Hello, bookworm addict. Were you there, Joe? Were you just there? But anyway, let's listen.
Family to the Dachau.
They're really. Listen to how Scott Pelley does this. I'm gonna start this over because how it's so glowing of Biden. the way they do this. Because they would never, I don't know if they'd ever do this kind of thing for Donald Trump.
Mr. Biden told us images of October 7th reminded him of the Holocaust,
Which he has
studied.
Because he probably plagiarized that line. Anyway.
Taking his family to the Dachau death camp in Germany. This is 2015. The man in the wheelchair is a Dachau survivor.
Wasn't he vice president in 2015? I think so. Joe Biden was the vice president, right? I know, I'm just playing. Hello, Damon Gershwin.
Behind Mr. Biden is the president's granddaughter.
Okay. Did he sniff her too? Never mind.
My children and grandchildren to fully understand exactly what happened and why you couldn't deny the carnage going on if you were living in Germany and in Europe.
Why do you feel so strongly? What does Israel mean to you?
Scott, what a great question. What a great question. Why do you feel so strongly? Such a strong, powerful question.
The Jews have been subject.
The Jews? What? What did he? Is that the proper way to say that? Shouldn't you say the Jewish people? When people say the Jews, unless they're Jewish, I don't want to hear anyone say the Jews, because usually when someone says the Jews, it's not something the next words out of their mouth usually isn't good, or the things preceding it weren't good. So the Jewish people, how about that, Joe?
To abuse prejudice and attempt to wipe them out for over 1,000 years.
Only 1,000, Joe? They've been chased around a lot. 1,000, yeah, 1,000, 1,500. I think it's over 1,000 years. But anyway.
For me, it's about decency, respect, honor. It's just simply wrong. Wrong. It violates every religious principle I have and every single principle my father taught me.
Okay.
As we spoke to the president, his Secretary of State was in Israel. His defense secretary was at a NATO meeting on Ukraine. America's oldest president seemed tired
now here's
from
where they asked him the question.
All of this.
Oh, wait, that line. Listen to this line. Now, listen carefully. Listen carefully what Scott Pelley says here.
As we spoke to the president, his Secretary of State was in Israel. His defense secretary was at a NATO meeting on Ukraine. America's oldest president seemed tired from directing all of this.
Okay. If you think Joe Biden's directing all this, put a 1 in the chat. If you do not think that Joe Biden is directing all of this, put a 0 in the chat. Just saying.
But he was very clear on what he stood for and how his policies, in his view, would see America
this is going to
through.
be powerful. This is going to be something powerful.
Mr. President,
Watch.
given...
Yeah, and they edited the shit out of this interview, by the way. But here it is. Here's the question this guy's going to ask him.
these two wars and the dysfunction in Congress, are you sure that you want to run again?
Now, why would Scott Pelley ask him that question? Hi, Zed. What's up? Why would Scott Pelley ask that question? And the way he asked it, too, it's, Joe Biden's already going to run. He's already running for president, right? He's already running for re-election. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, they don't want him to. And listen how Scott, listen how he asked this question. Are you sure you want to, are you sure you want to run for president? Please, please say no. Please say no.
Would see
What up, Cannibalistic Wizard, Robert Banks, and James Stoner? What's up?
America through.
Mr. President, given these two wars and the dysfunction in Congress,
gosh.
are you sure you want to run again?
Yeah, because I don't want you to.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Look,
Okay.
when I ran, I said the world's at an inflection point.
What's a
The
flexion
world's
point?
changing.
And you're not. That's the problem, Joe. You're
An opportunity to make it. So imagine if we were able to succeed in getting the Middle East put in place where we have normalization of relations. I think we can do that.
No one's ever tried
Imagine
that
what
before.
happens if we, in fact, unite all of Europe and Putin is finally put down where he cannot.
Now, do you think maybe, just maybe, his choice of words there leave something to be after Putin's put down? Anyway, that caught my ear too.
Have normalization of relations. I think we can do that. Imagine what happens if we, in fact, unite all of Europe and Putin is finally put down where he cannot
like a
cause
dog?
the kind of trouble he's been causing. We have enormous opportunities. Enormous opportunities.
Okay, what does
make
that
it a
have to
better
do with you
world.
running, Joe? What does that have to do with you running? Anyway, so yeah, that's just you can go watch it somewhere. I'm sure. All right, I got to keep going here. Let's see what's next here. Oh, this is okay. That's a different one. That's a different one. Oh, now, of course, whenever Biden does anything, our guy, the guy with the funny hair, does something humorous. Why is my clicker not clicking? Click, please. There you go. So, Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social. This is an interview. I joined 60 Minutes with Crooked Joe Biden. Here's Donald Trump. Somebody over there is funny, but here's the clip that the former president has put up of him speaking with the new president.
We created the greatest economy in the history of our country.
Well, first of all, let's put this in perspective.
The unemployment numbers for African Americans, for Asian Americans, for Hispanic Americans, virtually every number was the best.
Inflation rate month to month was just an inch.
Hi, Aaron Meredith.
We had the best stock market price ever.
I got that, but guess what we are? We're in a position where, for the last several months, it hasn't spiked.
You know what? She deleted 33,000 emails.
How that could possibly happen? How anyone could be that irresponsible? And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
I think it's disgraceful what she's done.
I
I
mean,
do.
honest to God, that's all I think.
The biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign.
I haven't. Look,
They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
don't.
And then they went much further than that, and they got caught.
Yes.
It was our Justice Department.
Yes.
It was Obama and Biden.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. So wrong.
I think what happened was disgraceful. Should never have happened.
Think about that.
Should never have happened.
Think of how that has changed everything.
What kind of ice cream, what flavor ice cream do you have?
You think I would tell you if I knew exactly what it would be? Of course I'm not going to
You
tell
just
you.
come in here with that negative attitude.
And it's much
Ice
too
cream.
early to make that kind of decision.
And when I finish, this country will be in a position like it hasn't been maybe ever.
I'm more optimistic than I've been in a long time.
All right, there you go. So I thought that was cute. Some cute shit from the former president on his Truth Social. All right, keep going, keep it going. Oh, this lady's great too. Okay, so she's now. It's a little bit of a long diatribe, but you know what I was telling you how some of my fellow melanated peoples are starting to see some things that that was told to them before this guy was elected, and I think this lady encapsulates how some people are feeling these days. Here's a woman talking about Joe Biden on 60 Minutes, and enjoy the show.
Stop putting that damn slow blinking ass Joe up there to speak to us. This man that got up there and spoke a Facebook post, and y'all thought we was gonna be moved by. We done already said everything that he done said on the damn TikTok. We done already created the content. We already said that what happened over there in Israel is evil as fuck. We done already said Mr. Hum is on all types of bullshit, and then he gonna get up here and repeat the same shit that we done already said. We don't want to see from them folks no more. The hell just sit up there reading from a teleprompter. He could have got up there and said something compassionate from his damn heart. But no, just because he's supposed to say something, he just got up there and said into damn thing.
Now, I don't know if you need me to translate, because I think she must be from she must be from like Louisiana or something, because she has a little bit of that little extra hook in her accent, but I think you get it.
Why they keep hearing that shit? Why the hell you ain't let them folks ask questions? Because we want to know, excuse me, Mr. Biden, did you send some money over there to them Iran folks or no? Answer that question. Just done walked up off the stage and then Kamala sitting over there looking like this.
Is that not a perfect Kamala Harris? Just standing there.
Like a motherfucking AI bot. What the hell is you doing back there, standing back there looking like that, Kamala? I swear these people ain't nothing but a bunch of glitches. That's it. That's all. I'm sick and tired of this shit.
Okay, new nickname,
Sick and
Glitch.
tired of it. Don't make no damn sense. This is what the hell we got to deal with every day. I know everybody in America laughing at us. They laughing at us from the president to the people. Because the people up here arguing over black Ariel dolls and white people wearing braids, and the president and the vice president sitting up there looking like they got caught up in a glitch. Talking about what the fuck we ain't gonna do. We ain't gonna do nothing but make a TikTok about it. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna just talk shit about each other in the comment section. Y'all get on my live. Let's fuss about it. Cause that's all we is gonna do. People don't know how to stick together and do what the fuck they need to do to get that shit up our office. The hell, that's treason. That's a damn charge.
All right, so there you go. There. Yeah, she's precious. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. We got already did that one. Let's see. This is a guy talking about the situation when he was as Hamas was going through his kibbutz and killing people. They were hiding, and so this guy was on 60 Minutes too, telling his story. We'll just throw this one out here too. We might as well stick with videos today.
We're at that point still stranded in the safe room.
He said we're at this point. We're still stranded. They were in their safe room. They have, a lot of the Israelis have safe rooms, whatever, to whenever something happens when they start shelling or whatever.
No cell phone by that point. We don't know where my father is, but we begin to hear very close exchanges of gunfire.
How many hours by that point had you been in the safe room?
By now it's, I think, 8-9 hours that we're inside.
This is crazy,
no
man.
No electricity, no food.
Not so
Two
safe
girls
room, right?
that are the biggest heroes in the world, keeping quiet.
Then at 4 o'clock, after an hour of...
So there's a situation, this guy's father was former IDF and he came with the guns. Anyway, you'll hear about it.
Door-to-door combat, the retired general finally reached their house.
Yeah, his dad's a retired general.
The window of this armor room when they were hiding. I knocked on the window and I said, Amir, it's dead.
And we hear my father's voice. He says something like, open. And Galia, our older daughter, she says, Saba Egia, grandfather is here.
And
that's the first time we started crying.
For now, Amir, Miri, and the girl...
I mean, imagine this. Can you imagine going through this? It's just insane. And I feel for the people of Gaza who are not Hamas, because Hamas has brought a rain of fire down on them. And I mean, there's some people who are claiming on the internet that Hamas is a partner with Israel to make this chaos, which is stupid. But they said Israel created Hamas. Now I'm sure that's metaphorically they're saying, but whatever. Anyway, we'll go through some headlines now. Hundreds of dead excuse me, I missed the click there. Hundreds of dead people in Israel are still unidentifiable because of what Hamas terrorists did to their bodies. Video and images slowly being released by Israel show torture and abuse of Israel living and dead during the initial Hamas attack, including a deceased victim having poles shoved deep into his eye sockets. I'm not going to show you any of the images, but I'm not sure if they're in these videos. I'm not going to even play the videos on this, but Israel is historically bad at public relations. It doesn't parade the bodies of its dead and wounded in front of the cameras to show the depravity of its enemies. Israel also has almost the entire international media against it, as well as Islamists around the world and Western leftists, all of whom pump out propaganda to delegitimize Israel's self-defense during its current Hamas attack, where there are widespread claims denying that Hamas committed the brutality, to which there have been numerous testimonies, not only by Israelis, but also foreign journalists, diplomats, and U.S. military who have seen the scenes firsthand or in images and video. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said that from what he's seen, it's worse than ISIS. So there are testimonies, but apparently now, slowly, they're starting to release the images and video. Even those images spawned a new industry of denial. An image of a dead and charred Israeli baby was subjected to unreliable and manipulated AI detectors by these ghouls with the false results, then used to deny Hamas's crimes. So it's there. Anyway, we heard the same. We heard that from one of the prior videos that they have to. It's like they have to prove what they said is happening, and so now they're starting to release some of the things to prove it. In the Daily Wire, IDF urges Gazans to evacuate as Hamas blocks the escape route. Our war is not with the people of Gaza. Now, again, they say, this is going to be they're trying to genocide the Palestinians. Well, the IDF has repeatedly urged civilians inside northern Gaza to evacuate immediately as it prepares to start a ground offensive in response to the more than 1,300 Israelis who were murdered by Palestinian terrorists with Hamas. The IDF commonly warns civilians to exit buildings and neighborhoods where it's getting ready to conduct airstrikes, but now it's calling for a much larger evacuation. Well, they're asking people to evacuate, and Hamas is blocking people from evacuating because Hamas wants human shields. They want to be able to show pictures of their dead. The Israelis are reluctant to do it. So it's just two very different types of civilizations. Hello, Tessa. What's up? Nice to see you. Deep fake AI. Is that what you're saying too? I don't think so. Anyway, and sinister, the IDF has blasted Hamas for stopping Gazan civilians from evacuating. Again, they want martyrs. Martyrs are very, very important to Hamas. Anyway, welcome. Those ain't real, dude. How you doing? The Wire, Jerusalem Cardinal says now is not the time for Israel to make a peace deal. Cardinal Pizzaballa to talk about dialogue in this moment is something not realistic. Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, said he believes calls for a two-state solution after Hamas terrorist attacks are very simply unrealistic, as is the possibility of dialogue between Israel and Hamas and militia. The comments of the Daily Wire come after the Vatican's secretary. Why did they put Vaticans twice? They need proofreaders. Secretary of State called for peace through dialogue between the two sides. Pizzaballa has just returned to Jerusalem on an emergency trip after participating in the ongoing Synod of Bishops in Rome, and says talk of peace dialogues must come after Israel strikes back against Hamas terrorists. As we heard the other day, they did the FO, but they did the FA, but you can't have talks until the FO happens. So the F around has to be the talks have to be preceded by a find out before they can have talks is kind of the whole thing. Thank you, Unwiped Israeli. Dropping a dozen tip jar. You are also the Streamlab Superstar sponsor of the day. This should have some music with it. Here we go. Baby boomers Zion cons demand ethnic genocide on behalf of Jews. Just evacuate 1.5 million people. It's totally Hamas blocking them. Ignore the IDF airstrikes on Egypt border wall. Shapiro posting fake dead babies. A fake 40 beheaded Jews. Oy vey. Well, if you can show me proof that they're fake pictures, That's interesting. That's an interesting way. Okay, we'll agree to disagree, but that's okay because we don't have you're not required to agree with me on this show ever. So, but I do appreciate the sponsoring of the show. Also, another dude. So you're even more Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day.
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor.
Unwiped Israeli again, another deuce in the tip jar. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, I'm only reading this because this is what he wrote, but I don't, easy. Long nose, small hats, controlling foreign policy, and holding all your important offices in power has dire consequences. We must, okay, I see what you're doing. You're being, he says we must ethnically cleanse the Arabs on behalf of the Semites, but no. See, here's a problem. They're all Semites, though. The Semites not just Jewish. They're the region, and most of the Palestinians in the area are Semites too. They're just different religion Semites. Because this holy book written by some sand wizards 2,000 years ago says so. Well, it's not just that, though. If you want to decide who the indigenous people are there, like usually the leftists want to do, who's been there the longest and who's had the land the longest, but whatever. We talked about this on Thursday after the British gave up control to the UN, which it was British territory at the time, right? And they, went to the UN, and the UN went in there and they did partition it off. And, they were supposed to live in peace because they partitioned this place off. And then all of a sudden, all these countries all attacked the Jews there because they want to run the Jews into the sea. And so then the Jews won that war, right? And so they were going to live in peace at a two-state solution again, and then they got attacked again, and then the Jews won that war, that 6-day war. Like everybody attacked them, and they won that from them, that little spot in the middle of it. They won that war, and so they kind of gave themselves more buffer, and then but they didn't take more land. But then they got attacked again, and there's been terrorist attacks ever since. But it's all because people want to kill the Jews there, right? And they don't want to be killed. And so then they did another two-state solution and made Gaza and West Bank and gave them that land and said, look, let's just all get along. And then they did it again. They keep doing it. And it's like, the most likely ones to want to live in peace are the ones with the modern stuff. The Israelis are the ones. And so, it's not like this is just like, all of a sudden they're like just attacking it out of no reason. So I don't know. Again, Unwiped. Again, another news. Thank you for dropping another one. No hate, by the way, P-Dog. You did see CNN publicly apologize for the 40 dead baby story, and the White House, Abe Biden, never saw any of it. It's a ginned up BS story, just war propaganda to manufacture consent. I refuse to get drafted and die for Israel. Well, I don't want you to get drafted and die for Israel either. I don't think we need to get any more involved in it than we are already. And but that's not really the problem now. The problem now is that other powers that be seem to be taking the opposite side of us, and probably because we are meddling in their little blue and yellow flag war, and it's getting a little scary out there. It's not going to be drafted. You won't be drafted for Israel. You'll be drafted because everyone's starting to fight again, especially if China starts going into Taiwan. So and Iran too. It's not just Israel. It's Iran, and there's Iran so far away. Anyway. Thank you. I appreciate you sponsor the show. You're great, and I appreciate you. So anyway, so the Cardinal says it's not time for Israel to make a peace deal. And in legal insurrection, Israel complies with the law of armed conflict when defending against terrorists hiding among civilians. That's just it. I don't even know. Okay, is it just me? Or is it just weird that we have rules of war? I don't know. I mean, granted, if you're trying to save your population through attacking another entity, you might want to try and save them instead of keep them in the places where they're most likely to get hit, or put all your weapons near where they're likely to get hit. But I don't get it. So anyway, this is an article, Legal Insurrection, about how Israel is attempting to comply with the law of armed conflict when defending against terrorists. Now, I'm going to have one caveat, though. They're also cutting off water to the civilian population of Gaza and whatnot. So I don't know if that's part of the laws of armed conflict. There, as always, there are false claims about international law meant to hamstring Israel against an enemy whose military strategy is to use civilians as human shields. And this was originally run in 2021. On Wednesday, June 9, 2021, the Legal Insurrection Foundation held an online event on how Israel implements the law of armed conflict to defend against terrorists hiding among civilians. So it's a repeat of that article. That's interesting. In the Daily Wire, IDF urges Gazans to evacuate as Hamas blocks escape route. We already talked about that. I think the next one's about that too. Oops, what the hell did I do there? Yeah, let's put that back. Here we go. In human events, Saudi Arabia halts normalization talks with Israel after the Hamas attack. No surprise. The Sauds were in talks with Israel to have normal relations. And, I wonder how much of this timing of this attack was because of that. Because, they had the Abraham Accords. They were starting to get relations with some of the other Arab countries. And now all of a sudden Hamas decided to do this. Now Israel's striking back. And now everyone's saying, we're not going to do that now. So we'll see what happens. According to Reuters, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman spoke with Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, who told the prince that Saudi Arabia that Palestinians would need support to prevent further escalation in the region. Well, that's rich. Anyway, hello. Oh, you're already there. According to legal experts, Iran-backed Hamas allegedly launched the attack on Israel due to Saudi Arabia working to normalize relations with Israel. Well, there you go. That's not illogical by any means. Sure, they wanted to rile some shit up, and they sure did. So there you go. Oh, damn it. What the hell happened there? No, that's not what I wanted to do. Restore, close, reopen, close tab. There we go. In Breitbart, Biden says big mistake for Israel to occupy Gaza at this time. This is confusing, okay? When he says it's a mistake for Israel to occupy, how long is this? This is the whole interview. No, I'm not going to do the whole interview. In the segment, though, Scott Pelley asked Joe Biden, would you support Israeli occupation of Gaza at this point? I don't think they want to occupy Gaza at this point. They just want to stop. They just want to stop having people killing them. Biden says, I think it would be a big mistake. Look, what happened to Gaza, in my view, is Hamas and the extreme elements of Hamas don't represent all the Palestinian people. Yeah, correct. And that's why Israel's telling them to evacuate. They want to go in and kick Hamas's ass. And I think that it would be a mistake for Israel to occupy Gaza again. But this is how they wrote a transcript verbatim, so I'm having a hard time trying to translate it. Going in, but taking out the extremists, and the Hezbollah is up north, but Hamas down south is a necessary requirement. Pelley asks him, do you believe that Hamas must be eliminated entirely? Biden says, yes, I do, but there needs to be a Palestinian Authority. There needs to be a path to a Palestinian state. Pelley says that path, called this two-state solution, has been U.S. policy for decades. It would create an independent nation next to Israel for 5 million Palestinians who live in Gaza and on the west bank of the Jordan River. Yeah, and that's been the plan for years and years and years, and boy, it hasn't gone that well. All right, let me go through here. I have so many of these tabs up. We're not going to get to all of them. Sorry, guys. U.S. LA Qatar ties to terrorism scrutinized after the Hamas attack on Israel. Secretary of State Blinken crisscrossed the Middle East over the past week in an effort to prevent the war between Israel and Hamas from expanding. The secretary also wanted to make the U.S. position clear. Israel has a right to defend itself, and Hamas should be isolated from the Arab world. And he took that message to the Qatari capital Doha, telling Qatari Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, there can be no more business as usual between Qatar and Hamas, suggesting that the terror group's leadership should no longer be given a safe haven in the Qatari government. Qatar's prime minister received the message coolly. He's like, oh, yeah, fuck off, dude. So anyway, they're saying that there's some ties to some of the terrorism. Hamas has some ties to Qatar too, which is not good. I mean, look, the Arab world is going to support the other Muslims, even if they have relations with Israel. And mission accomplished Hamas on putting some little wedges into those little relationships. Let's just say that, right? And in fact, it's funny because so this article in City Journal, pro-Hamas, more pro-Hamas than Hamas. Some of the people out defending Hamas are saying good job with what you did, and the terrorist group itself. Their disingenuous denials of its atrocities catch its Western allies, which had celebrated them in an awkward position. To call someone more Catholic than the Pope is to satirize their presumptive piety. What should we call it when someone is more pro-Hamas than Hamas? That is the level to which the terrorist organization cheerleaders in the West, most vocal on American university campuses, have sunk. Yeah, like at Harvard. You can read it, but it's just talking about how all these people are supporting Hamas, even though the reports of what they did may be with a grain of salt, whoever's doubting what Israel is saying about some of the stuff. Anyway, worse than what the Hamas is even willing to admit to. Apparently, France mobilized 7,000 troops following a stabbing described as barbaric Islamist terrorism. So on the day of rage, France mobilized 7,000 soldiers to increase security in the country following a stabbing at a high school last week in which the suspect allegedly shouted, "Allah Akbar!" during the attack. The suspect in his 20s, who was known to authorities as a security risk, went on a stabbing spree at Gambetta High School in Arras, France, killing one teacher and wounding 2 staff members. According to officials, President Emmanuel Macron described the attack as a case of barbaric Islamist terrorism. So everyone's on high alert because, the Hamas has said that people around the world should attack people, right? And they're thinking that this had something to do with it on the so-called Day of Rage. Chuck Schumer, the smarmy prick from New York, senator, led Senate delegations shelters from Hamas rockets in Tel Aviv. Senate Majority Chuck Schumer and other members of congressional delegations sheltered for safety as Hamas attacked Israel on Sunday, the top lawmaker announced. In a post on X, Schumer shared a photo of himself and Senator Mitt Romney of Utah, and others hunkering down in a cramped space. While in Tel Aviv today, our delegation was rushed to a shelter to wait out rockets sent by Hamas. It shows what you Israelis have to go through. We must provide Israel the support required to defend itself, Schumer said. So our Congress critters are somewhere over there. And he's showing himself in a shelter. Now, I don't know. I didn't know that they had a delegation over there. You would think that you would have heard about this before today, but maybe some of you did. I did not. So who knows what the smarmy prick from New York is talking about. Aggressive anti-Israeli protesters arrested outside Chuck Schumer's Brooklyn home, however. Organized by Jewish Voice for Peace, a self-described anti-Zionist activist group. So not all the Jewish peoples are pro-Israel. There's some the left-wing people who are saying stop the genocide against Palestinians. I gotta ask the question: Would Israeli forces being going into Gaza had this attack not happened on October 7th? I'm just curious. I don't think they had a plan to go in there before this happened. I don't know, man. I do not know. Why does that not be reached? And that GOP representatives are introducing a bill to prevent Palestinian refugees from settling in the U.S. Now, the reason they're doing this, I'm mixed. I mean, if people want to escape, well, why would you have them escape to the U.S.? There's all kinds of friendly. Well, no, they're not, because the Jordanians don't want them and the Egyptians don't want them. I can see it now. But there are other Arab countries that these people could go if they were refugees, but none of those countries want them. Isn't that the weird thing? Isn't that the weird thing? And so they're coming up with a bill to not allow the refugees to come to the U.S. And here's the reason why. Not because they are indifferent to refugees, right? They're not indifferent to the refugees. But if the Palestinian authorities issue the type of clearance to have them settle here or be refugees here, well, you don't know who they're going to give those credentials to, right? So they might say, hey, here's a way we could get some of our own little vest wearing peoples, if you know what I mean. Get some vest wearing people over there, and then that's a problem. So they don't want them to come here. Yeah, they don't want them because they're extremists. They killed a Jordanian king. Yeah, that too. That too, Cyan Wizard. So I am not going to get to all this stuff today. Let's just go through headlines and I got to get out of here. In the Washington Free Beacon, the White House says it does extensive work to avoid funding terrorist supporters. The State Department grants say otherwise. There is some evidence that some of the money that they've been sending to various places may have been used for certain terrorist activities. And, we sometimes fund both sides of things like this, and that's because we're so generous with every dime. We just give money to everybody, and then if they want to fight it out, then they might fight it out, and then they might end up over here. But that's what we do, because I've never understood that. In Issues and Insights, intersection of evil, Hamas, Antifa, BLM, and Harvard, and Barack Hussein Obama. The intersection of evil. So all these people that like the Antifa and the BLM groups supporting Hamas. Now I don't know what do they have Barack Obama in there though? Because he did actually said that we are supportive of Israel and we will always be. They will be our friend, even though sometimes it's hard to tell. But that's what Barack Obama says. But a coalition of 34 Harvard student organizations issued a joint statement in which they said they will hold the Israeli regime entirely responsible for all unfolding violence. Really? Because they didn't. No one sent them to. They didn't call Hamas and say, "Hey, come over and kill a bunch of people so we can come attack you." The Hamas did that on their own. I don't get it. Anyway, that's in there. In Breitbart, thousands march in solidarity with Israel in Los Angeles. Well, I'll be damned. Someone actually marched in solidarity with Israel. Well, there's a large Jewish population in Los Angeles. Jewish Lives Matter signs, people with Israeli flags. So there are people out there who were marching on behalf of Israel, because most of the rallies I've seen have been on behalf of the Palestinians. Oh, this guy's not happy about it, though. He's out there flipping them off. He's like, fuck them. So anyway, that's interesting. Good. I'm sure there's, you don't hear about the rallies, pro-Israel rallies. Elite law schools encourage students to work for Israeli designated terror organizations. Okay, that's not a very well written sentence, is it? Israeli designated terror organizations. So it almost like it makes them sound like that the Israeli terror organizations. No, but they're organizations designated as terrorists by Israel, and elite law schools are encouraging students to work for them. UCLA School of Law and the Georgetown University Law Center promote al-Haq, which is designated as a terrorist organization by Israel in 2021 and as a potential employment option for their graduates. Northeastern University Law School promotes both al-Haq and Adamir, another Israeli designated terrorist organization, as part of the Signature Cooperative Legal Education Program. So some of these schools are recommending that their students, their graduating law students or whatever, work from people that Israel called terrorists. Isn't that special? In the Washington Free Beacon, Starbucks threatens barista union with legal action over pro-Hamas tweets. What? Starbucks has threatened a union representing thousands of its employees with legal action after its espoused support for Hamas terrorists on social media, according to a letter obtained by the Washington Free Beacon. Now, wow. Now, oh boy. You'd think that they wouldn't have enough things to fight about, but now they're fighting over Hamas. Last week, the Free Beacon reported that Starbucks Workers United expressed solidarity with Palestine in a deleted social media post. The union chapters were in Iowa, Chicago, and Boston. They have Starbucks workers unions? I did not know that. They promoted rallies in support of Hamas attacks on Israel, including a long-lived Palestinian resistance rally in Boston. The union's backing of terrorist attacks. A terrorist attack that killed more than 1,200 Israelis drew widespread condemnation, including calls from Senator Rick Scott to boycott the coffee giant over the union's stance. Well, fuck around and find out. We'll see what happens if people boycott Starbucks because of their union. Though they seem to be, they backtracked. At least they deleted it, but still, that's a fight among them. If they want to fight amongst their workers and their unions, that's their prerogative. And if it fucks up the company, that's how it goes. So anyway, there's a bunch of headlines. I don't even have time to go through them all. This one, everything you need to know about Israeli occupation, that is everything the left won't tell you. There's no such thing as Palestinians. Yeah, that's. I mean, this is according to Rabbi Michael Barclay. And then there's some other political ones that you can go through, but I don't have time. So I apologize for being here a little late, but sometimes there's just so much. There's so much to talk about. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for being here today, because I am, it's after the weekend. I went to a football game this weekend. So, in Des Moines, Iowa, and that was fun. I'll tell you about that tomorrow. But, anyway, thank you all for being here today at the Morning Night Live. Thanks to our sponsors, Unwiped Israeli, Blackout 8879. I think that's everyone today for sponsoring the show. If you'd like to sponsor the show, you can do that at pdognight.live-tips. You can also hit the like button. But number one way to help the show is to share the stream, invite your friends, neighbors, and loved ones to come join us on the Morning Night Live. So that's going to be it for today, though. Sorry for the abrupt ending, but I got to go. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.